Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Day 24 that we are paying attention, watching, sharing the truth, sharing hope, and doing our part to help the nation of Ukraine. Welcome to everybody. I got many channels going, so I can't shuttle all the chat. But Richard Rossi, welcome to you, sir, from Venice, Florida. Stephen and Terry Olsgaard checking in. Marysville, California. Raymond Flores. Beautiful. Taylor, Texas, in the house. Tonight's going to be good. You know, it's pretty interesting. Probably, Zhenya's probably watching this. I literally was talking to him 5 minutes ago. So he's probably watching. We have scheduled tomorrow night. Bob Piccirilli just got done watching you from last night. Prayers to Ukraine. Thank you for that, sir. So you're on live tonight to get completely updated. So we have made the plan for tomorrow night, a full live hour. Energy Center. What's up, brother? That's Brentwood, California. Welcome to the program tonight. I'll give you a call when this is over. I did get your message. I've been running around like crazy, dude. So I spoke with Zhenya, and tomorrow night, the hour program, of course, we'll be going over the updates and the news, but he will be on with me live. He almost had to go to Nikolaev today. The driver was unable to go, and that's an extremely hot zone. But the driver came through. So remember the Pony Express I was telling you about. It's en route to Nikolaev, and all is well. So Zhenya had a very big day today. They are receiving more and more. They're receiving more and more refugees from Mariupol. In fact, we're going to talk about Mariupol tonight a little bit and some of the craziness that's going on. Richard Martin Zink, PG looks tired. No, I'm good, brother. Just going nonstop, but all is well. I'm getting my rest. Zhenya and I were talking about a couple of things, and it's really good. The 23 hours that we report. So the program is from 9 to 10 Eastern, 6 to 7 California, or whatever time zone you're in watching. I know that people watch internationally. It really is amazing by the time the next 23-hour cycle happens, how much the war changes, new things happen. It's unbelievable. So tonight is a game changer, and we will be discussing that. Even Zhenya, I was speaking with him. I said, man, this is what I'm talking about tonight. Do you agree? He said 100%. I agree. Question that's been on my mind from last night. As an American, I would have a difficult time just handing over my gun to our government, even if it were military use. Can you give perspective? Man, we haven't even gotten going tonight, and you're dropping the hard questions on me. So if you watched last night, the nation of Ukraine made a call out to the hunters to please donate their hunting rifles, certain calibers, to the Ukrainian military. Now, as an American, Beth is speaking and saying, okay, I'm not sure I would give my gun to the government. So here's what you have to understand. There are more guns in Mercer County, probably, than there are in the entire nation. I mean, it's probably accurate. Private guns. So remember, there's only 180,000 registered. You also have to remember it's not America, and it's a completely different atmosphere there. And they're in a war zone. We're not in a war zone. This nation is doing everything they can to support their military. They're not worried about what you would consider an infringement upon your rights as an American. They're trying to stay alive. So they have called for these hunting rifles because the reality is they have trained snipers in the military, but they do not have enough rifles. Remember, we're trying to get aid to them. I wonder how that's really happening when they're having to ask the public to donate their rifles. So it's a completely different world. It is not an invasion upon their rights. They're not taking them away. It is voluntary, but I can tell you they're donating them because they're trying to save their nation and stay alive. So I hope that helps answer. And I can tell you from watching the internal media, this is not even an issue. This is about patriotism and about supporting your military who's trying to protect their lives. So hope that helps. Man, she jumped right on it. How about a smile before we get going? Because I like to show positive things as well. And as you know right now, the refugee and displaced people in Ukraine and throughout Europe is now pushing 11 million total between internal and external. Well, children started their schooling in Italy, and I showed you that video where they were welcomed. And now some preschoolers have started school in Spain, and the little children welcomed their new Ukrainian classmates. This will give you a smile before we get going. I'm pulling the music down so I don't get kicked. But you can see the little kids coming and hugging. Isn't that awesome? Little preschoolers coming and supporting. Good, Beth. I'm glad that helps. I meant to change that music out behind that one. Just so much going on. But you saw it. Little kids welcoming their new classmates, preschool there in Spain. So every 23 hours, things are changing. Tomorrow night, Xenia will be live. Tennessee in the house, Bob Green. Ukraine, Bob Green from Tennessee loves you. And if he could get over there, he'd bring all them rednecks from Tennessee to help with all their weapons. So today, I told you that the war is coming westward. And Google reports Pennsylvania 40% gun ownership, 236,000 registered guns. Yeah, that's the story. Registered. Registered. The guys are starting to get a little bit worried. It doesn't mean lack of faith, lack of belief, but folks, it's reality. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. So Khmelnytsky has started to do some training, and today they were doing some training. I changed this a little bit today, made it a little bit bigger for you guys. Hopefully that helps you there. This is today in Khmelnytsky, the center that we are supporting. This is terrible. You have to see this, but they taught them. And for those of you that didn't know it, Xenia went to medical school initially to be a gynecologist. So he is a medical dude. Um, they trained people in the city today, and I just talked to him about this a minute ago, on how to set broken bones, how to do CPR, how to clear airways, um, how to stop bleeding, how to do a tourniquet with a spoon and a string, piece of fabric. They also were trained on rubble removement, how to use jacks to lift off concrete from folks like car jacks, etc. It was a full day of training there in Khmelnytsky. And we'll talk to Zhenya tomorrow night about that. But the reality is, folks, it's heating up. And it's just reality. Let's get to the general's report tonight. I know you guys enjoy that. And President Zelensky. In fact, President Zelensky just came out a little while ago, late, once again, early in the morning. You know, these guys are not sleeping a lot. So let's start with President Zelensky tonight. Zelensky said today that if Russia is not stopped now, if Russia is not punished now, I'm telling you that in other places of the world, other aggressors, China, are going to do the same thing. The other aggressors in the world are watching the world's response to what is happening in our country. Nations pay attention. He said in different regions of the world, on different continents, there are people who dream of conquering other lands. The world must pay attention. He then put out a statement about education. He said, as of this morning, the 19th of March, and listen to this, folks, 489 educational institutions in Ukraine have been damaged. 69 additionally have been completely destroyed and leveled. Just in the past 24 hours, 25 educational institutions have been damaged and 5 have been razed to the ground. But even as houses in cities, we will definitely rebuild everything after our victory, but we will never forget or forgive. I want to talk about that word right now, forget and forgive. I know as believers and Christians, we want to forgive, we want to forget. And, you know, even Rostick talked about this about a week ago when he was with me, about how it's becoming a challenge, and Jania did, between pastors, between, you know, different cities and different nations. It's simple for them to judge when they're not in a war zone. It's simple for them to judge when bombs aren't dropping, when children are not being innocently killed, where cities are not being razed to the ground. So this is becoming quite a challenge. What does it take to stop this war? Well, I can tell you, Mr. Putin is not ready to talk to Mr. Zelensky. So I have that I'm sharing with you in a minute. Honestly, as of right now, my answer would be the only way to stop this war is Mr. Putin has to be removed. And international leaders, led by NATO and the United States, Great Britain, France, these large powers, have to say enough is enough and stop being afraid of a dictator. In World War II, which we are watching happen all over again, eventually nations were dragged in. I'm going to show you some data on that tonight. But eventually, Sir Winston Churchill stood up and said enough is enough. Where are these people in the world? I'll leave it there. We'll see. We're watching this every day. But that's the answer tonight. My opinion. Mr. Zelensky's opinion. He's in the middle of it. Let's see. General Staff. They put out their statement today that this is the 24th day of the heroic opposition of the Ukrainian nation to the full-scale armed aggression of the Russian Federation. The Ukrainian Defense Forces continue its defense operation in the east, in the southeast, in the northeast, and the north. Measures of our martial law are in place. We ask you to abide by them so that we can continue to protect our territory. Please make no mistake, this war is hot. Russian troops are now approaching the border of Belarus with Ukraine, and they will try to cross it. The general that was speaking then, he made a personal statement. He said, I am now speaking my personal point of view, but I would assess the situation of the possibility of introducing Belarus and their military onto our territory is a 60% positive chance. Just last week, I gave it a 40% chance. So that's the generals, and that's also a personal opinion there of the guy that was speaking. Intelligence update that came out today. The Kremlin has so far failed to achieve its original objective. It has been surprised by the scale and ferocity of the Ukrainian resistance. It's like Jane and I were talking about a few minutes ago. On the ground, Ukraine's doing phenomenal. On the air, they can't compete. Period. It's not even close, not possible. And we will be talking about a game changer that happened a few hours ago. Russia now has been forced to change its operational approach and is now pursuing a strategy of attrition. I think this is obvious. That is why negotiations are just fake. They're just smoke screens. In fact, many of the leaders in Ukraine today called the negotiations smoke screens just to give more time to destroy completely the infrastructure of Ukraine. Because of this, they're using indiscriminate firepower, resulting in increased civilian casualties, destruction of the Ukrainian infrastructure, and intensifying the humanitarian crisis. They also stated, and folks, this is directly from their intelligence. I didn't make this slide. It's provided to me. Putin has reinforced his control over Russian domestic media. The Kremlin is attempting to control the narrative, which is a fact. We know it. Detract from the operational problems and obscure high Russian casualty numbers from the Russian people. Now, with all of that said, I want to show you something first. This was a video put out by the Defense Intelligence that validates the use of unguided munitions. You know, different people, different nations, media, of course, take Russia and Ukraine off the table, but even other nations are giving their opinions. Oh no, they're using guided only, guided only. Folks, they're not. They're dropping unguided bombs indiscriminately. It's called attrition. We're going to wear them completely out and raise it because we have a bigger army. We have more airplanes. We have more bombs. We have more bullets. And by the way, NATO, if you even think about sending arms, we're considering that a target. We're going to talk more about that in just a moment. So this same department in the Defense Intelligence, released a video today proving unguided dropped bombs. This conversation they closed today. I have the video from them and I'm going to show it to you. You won't know, I mean, it's horrible, but you will not see people. I mean, you'll see people, but not killed in front of you. But it's the validation. Here you go. So I think that's pretty clear. They're doing a good job trying to get the truth out to people. With that, I want to give you the other day I showed you a video of Volnovka down in the Donetsk Oblast. I now want to show you Chernihiv. Let's go to our handy dandy map here. Right here. Get my little pin. Love it. Let's go orange. This is Kyiv. And this is Chernihiv. Okay, about 75 miles. That's it. Chernihiv is basically becoming completely destroyed as well. Devastating stories out of there. Got a little update for you. Here's Chernihiv. That is Chernihiv. It's terrible. This is the map released today, as you can see, showing the hot spots, which we've been talking about. General's report gave it to us. Basically, north, northeast, east, southeast, and due south. Very hot in the south, very hot in the east, and very hot in the north. The green arrows are the humanitarian corridors where they're trying to get people out to Poltava and to Dnipro, and then from there take them across to, as far as Khmelnytsky heading toward Poland. Poland's out of space, though, so they're really trying to come up with other alternatives. So nations like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Great Britain, Spain, Czechoslovakia, Italy are stepping up to the plate and doing a good job for the refugees. I want to tell you a story tonight. I want to show you on the map here Let's go back here. And I want to come over here to Eastern Ukraine. I want to zoom in. And that should give us a good look here. Let's go a pin. Let's go blue. Here's Lugansk. This is the Russian border. Okay, so Donetsk. These are very big cities. These are in separatist controlled areas. This is Volnovka, the video I showed you last night. For any of my Ukrainian friends, sorry, but this city is gone. Mariupol, disaster. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. It's that close to falling. That close. It's very, 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 very bad. Now, a hot spot right now is Kramatorsk. Very important city here in the eastern part of Ukraine. I want to come in a little bit more, and I want to show you the town of, let me put this one in orange, Konstantinovka. I have ministered many times here in Kramatorsk and as well as Konstantinovka. My friend in Konstantinovka, his name is Alex Durosh. He is a very good friend of mine, and I've ministered for him. And let me tell you how I got to Konstantinovka. I was ministering in Kramatorsk, pretty good sized city in the Donetsk Oblast, and I was there with Pastor Oleg Olenek and ministering, preaching, and all of a sudden, this bald-headed young guy shows up in Kramatorsk. And he walks up to me after the meeting and he says, of course in Russian, but hello, how are you? My name is Alex, and I pastor a church in Konstantinovka. Would you please come preach in my church? So what do? You go. So all of these cities, Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Konstantinovka, Gorlovka, down to Donetsk. I've spent much time in this region, but my friend, Pastor Alex, has not left Konstantinovka. So right this minute, he's right here. Now, if I was to zoom out of Ukraine, you see where we're talking about. It's over here in the east, due north of Mariupol. He is staying there. He's not going to leave. He feels it is his calling to serve people until he cannot serve anymore. He has a wife, he has children. He's a very young guy, early 30s. This is the character of the Ukrainian people that I know personally. This is why I'm so convinced of the character of Ukraine. These are not stories. I'm not a journalist. I'm a preacher. But I know the truth about Ukraine, and I'm going to tell the truth until this is over. These are not thugs. These are not bandits. These are not Nazis. These are not people killing their own people. Those are all lies. All of them. These are wonderful people. I have a short little clip that Alex posted a day or so ago. And basically in it, he says, this is my normal life. This is my friend, Alex.
Музыка.
He calls it music.
Константинов, Украина. Так и живем.
This is how we
Всем
live.
привет. Дела, да? Ничего, прорвемся, все будет хорошо.
But don't worry, everything will
Ну, давай
be
еще.
okay. And that was it. He called it music. He said, this is how we live. This is music. And that young man is there serving. And I wanted to give a spotlight to and respect. I saw somebody write respect. Wanted to give respect to Alex. He's a great man of God, and he is serving there on the front lines. It's unbelievable. Folks, today, this was the title of the program, The War Changed Today. Many times in war, and I'm learning more about this, but since COVID hit in America and the world, and I began ministering and broadcasting and talking about current events, which is over 2 years now. And God is blessed, and we're able to minister to people, not only here at Bethel Life, but also around the country and around the world. We've grown a community. We've grown a family. Now, many of you, because of this evening stream, are joining our community, and we appreciate it, and we're thankful that you're here. But we've been doing this for years now, and I've been talking about the biblical narrative, Ezekiel 38 and 39, talking about what we're seeing happening way before this happened. I don't think I was prophetic, but I am able to read the Bible and see the signs of the times. As well, I've been doing a lot of study for some reason over the last couple of years into World War II. Almost daily, I'm researching it, watching a video or reading, and honestly, everything I read, we're just watching it all over again. That's why I think it's easy maybe for me to communicate it to you, because it's plain as, it's like looking through a clear glass to see how it's eerily similar to World War II. Well, one of the terms that I have learned about warfare, and I know we've got veterans in here that are a part of watching this program. One of the things, one of the keywords that I've learned in warfare is the word escalation. So war escalates, or events escalate. Well, my friends, today, this war escalated. It is not only a proven fact. Let me go to the big cam. It's not only a proven fact, but a few hours ago, Russia themselves said, yes, we used a hypersonic missile. Now, they attacked a munitions storage bunker and a defense, like an ammo depot there in Ivano-Frankovsk, south of Ivano-Frankovsk. Okay, I'm going to explain it to you. Are you ready? It's so simple. Unfortunately, the great minds that are leading this sometimes are slow to get to this. So where did that missile strike today? And then I'll explain that missile to you. That missile struck right here. Let me go and put that up for you. Right there. Now, I'll show you the border of Ukraine. Right here. That's the border of Ukraine. This is Romania. This is Hungary. Poland. Where are the weapons supposed to be coming from that NATO or the United States is supplying? I just have a question. Where are they coming from? Oh, they're not coming from the Black Sea. Oh, they're not coming from Russia. They're not coming from Belarus. Where are they coming from? They're coming from right here, and they're coming across the road into Ukraine. I guarantee you, and it's not 100%, but I just got the gut feeling that This place where that hypersonic missile hit was Western Supplies. This is a very mountainous region, beautiful, very rural. It's the perfect place to transport munitions to assist Ukraine from the West. I'm convinced that that was Western Supplies because Russia said, if you bring them in, they are a target. And I don't think this is getting out to the public too much. Yes, the public knows, oh, a hypersonic missile was used, but I don't think people are connecting the dots yet. But I'm going to tell you who is connecting the dots. The people in the know are. NATO is, Ukraine is, United States is, the nations of Europe that are not in NATO that maybe have access to this type of intelligence. Of course, Russia is. I'm just telling you, this is just miles from the border. I just believe that this very possibly was Western Supplies. That is why it was not just bombed, but folks, a hypersonic missile was used. Let me explain that to you. This is the first time in the history of the world that a hypersonic missile was used in conflict. The United States, Russia, and China are developing this technology, have hypersonic weapons. What is a hypersonic weapon? It is a missile that can be fired from a ship, from an airplane, from the ground. Right there, you see in the picture the white missile under the Russian fighter. That is a hypersonic missile, much like the one that was fired today on Western Ukraine, destroying the munitions. Isn't it interesting? You haven't heard a lot about that from NATO or the US, Britain. I'm telling you, I have a feeling that was Western weapons, and they're trying to figure out how to respond. Why? Because this is an escalation. It moves at 5 to 10 times the speed of sound. Conventional weapons of air defense, of which Ukraine have zero chance of defending against that missile. It's moving too fast. It's impossible. Only similar technology can stop that technology. I'm telling you, they're scrambling right now in NATO. They're scrambling in the Pentagon, and this one has made them nervous. I guarantee you, these missiles have a 1,200-mile range. They fly at altitudes that are much higher than airplanes or missiles. They basically go up into space and then come down at hypersonic speed. Here's the other part. They can either have conventional warheads, or they also can be equipped with tactical nuclear weapons. And finally, the only way to test these weapons officially is in a live fire. Yes, nations are testing them on still targets or wherever their testing zones are. But in reality, for real life application, this firing of this hypersonic missile was a test, but more importantly, it nailed the target. And most importantly, it's an escalation. And I'm telling you, this was a game changer today. It's why it's very quiet. Very quiet. But we're going to hear more about it when they figure out what to say. This one is a problem. Problem number 2 today. Mykolaiv. This is a city where Zhenya was bringing the supplies to get to. This is in southern Ukraine. Let's go here. Mykolaiv. Let's just go green. Mykolaiv is right here. Odessa, and then Mariupol. Today in Mykolaiv this morning, and they're trying to recover from it and figure it out, but a barracks was struck by a Russian missile. They do not know how many are dead yet. They're uncovering and cleaning up the rubble. You can see a picture there. Up to 200 soldiers were asleep in the barracks when it was struck. As the general staff said today, it's getting hot. Turkey. There you see President Zelensky on the left, President Putin on the right, and in the middle, Turkey. And as you know, Ukraine doesn't trust Turkey. Ukraine doesn't trust China. Erdogan came out today and gave a statement after talking with Zelensky and with Putin. And Turkey's President Erdogan made it very clear that Putin is not willing to come to the bargaining table. I quote, Erdogan said, Vladimir Putin said that the conditions are not yet met in Ukraine for me to come to the bargaining table. Our operation is still ongoing. There he is, Lavrov, foreign minister, folks, he made a couple of major statements today. The first one was he accused today Poland, that's, unless you can read that, I'll tell it to you. He accused Poland of integrating their territory into Western Ukraine. He basically threatened them that you're getting too cozy with Western Ukraine and all the things that you're doing with Western Ukraine, as far as the refugees, as far as allowing the transport of weapons, the president or prime minister of Poland is getting pretty tight on this. He's so close to it. Many of these missiles that are dropping or bombs that are dropping are just miles from his border. And he's getting fed up with it. Well, Lavrov came out, dropped the warning and says, listen, what we're doing in Ukraine, make no mistake about it, Poland, we will do the same to you. Lavrov then made a statement about China because President Biden just talked to China. He came out today and says, I'm here to tell you, no matter what you hear, Russia and China's relationship is growing stronger. And due to this current operation and current political situation, our relationship with China is getting stronger. At a time when the West, Europe, and the United States are trying to undermine all the foundations on which the international system is based, and I'm quoting, of course, we, China and Russia, as two great powers, we need to think how to carry on in this world and lead it. Quote, Lavrov. Germany today reiterated that they will not close the skies. Immediately, Podolyak responded. Podolyak is an advisor to President Zelensky, and he made a statement. He said, each such statement by European nations, today being Germany, saying they will not close the skies. Let me explain to you, dear Germany and other nations, what you are doing when you say it. You are encouraging Russia to continue dropping the bombs. So even if you're not going to close the sky, would you stop talking about it and telling Russia that you're not going to close the sky? If you don't want to call the war a war, and if you, Germany, are afraid of Putin, then at least be quiet and let us take care of this. It's getting tense. Folks, this is exactly what happened in the run-up to World War II. Nations started bickering. The next thing you know, a nation came in, a nation came in, a nation came in. After the firing of the hypersonic missile today, after the game changer that is, after the bickering in the nations, folks, this war needs to stop. Putin needs to stop. Russia needs to stop. And this needs to have a resolution immediately. If not, I don't even want to think about it, that this would expand to other nations. But do not think it's not possible. That is why the longer this goes on, the probability of expansion increases every day. Presidential advisor Alexei Arestovich came out and ripped NATO today. Folks, these people's nation is being destroyed. Destroyed. So he came out and he says, in regard to NATO, could you please indicate to us what assistance you have provided us as an organization since February 24th of this year, the beginning of the war? What does it mean that Ukraine was not invited to an emergency NATO meeting on February 26th this year, on the third day of the active phase of aggression? He then stated, Georgia and Moldova were invited. Why is that important? Because Georgia and Moldova are not NATO members. They were invited to that meeting, but Ukraine was not. It's fear, folks. Fear. What forms and ways of ensuring the security of Ukraine should we all find if we want NATO, but it doesn't want us? This was sent to me today by many people in Ukraine. You're saying, okay, what on earth is that? I'll translate it for you. 86.6% of Russian citizens who are blinded to the truth. Let me make that clear. Please hear me. I love the Russian people. I've been there many times. I consider them my family and my friends. But if you're blinded to the truth, then you need to be told the truth. That is why the media is closed. So blinded, 86.6% not only approve, but approve of expanding the war. And you see a map there. You say, what is that? Well, that's the nations of Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and so forth downward. 75.5% prefer that Poland be the next nation that is attacked. I'm telling you, folks, last 23 hours was big time. February the 23rd, 22, a month ago, basically, the Russian delegates, staff at their embassy in Kyiv left. And on the 24th, Russia invaded. Today, Belarus closed their embassy and their delegates went back to Minsk. Much speculation now that it's possible that Belarus will now get involved in this war. In fact, I'll play you Lukashenko, president, and then I will translate it for you. Here's President Lukashenko today.
Если вы думаете, что президент Путин физически нездоровый или что там что-то случилось, он,
is not physically
как у нас
healthy,
часто говорят, живее всех живых.
or that
Он
something has
много раз
happened to him,
простудится на всех наших
let me tell
похоронах,
you,
как у нас говорят.
he is more
Он
alive
абсолютно
than all of the
адекватный и
living.
нормальный человек.
Владимир Путин голосовал бы за Януковича.
said,
Он ёбнутый,
he
Владимир
will
Путин.
catch a
Чтобы вы
cold
поняли.
many times. at our funerals. President Putin is absolutely a normal, healthy, and adequate human being. President Lukashenko then went on to say, listen, Ukraine, you need to become like us in Belarus. You, Kyiv, should not have nuclear weapons. They don't, because that would be a threat to the Russian Federation. That's the NATO problem. Russia is not just an ally of Belarus, but we are one in our economy, and in our military might. It is beneficial for the West to drown and eliminate Belarus and Russia. The leadership of the Russian Federation has every reason not to trust the leadership of Ukraine. He then said, I told you guys, he said, I'm very upset that Japan is sending intelligence to Ukraine. That is unacceptable. I don't want to say that. It was either last night or 2 nights ago when I shared with you that Ukraine asked Japan for intelligence on satellite imagery that it would be a problem. Voila. Here's Lukashenko calling it out, saying that's a bad move, Japan. He said Zelensky manages the processes in Ukraine very poorly. Make no mistake about it. The Americans are running Ukraine, and Ukraine cannot be a springboard where we in Belarus or Russia could be attacked. Folks, Belarus, 60-40, according to the general, is coming. Folks, this is a map of the Black Sea, and that is the area south of south of Odessa. This entire area has been mined. I've been telling you over the last few days that the Russian Navy is very active in that sea, and they're firing missiles into southern Ukraine. They're beginning to try to soften up Odessa. Additionally, the amount of mines that are floating in the Black Sea right now is uncountable. Why are they there? They're there because just in case other military and navies, USA, would come through the Black Sea, they're going to make it a challenge. Folks, last couple of minutes for tonight. KLM and Lufthansa. KLM is the national carrier of the Netherlands. That is the airline I fly all the time as a partner with Delta. Additionally, Lufthansa there, that's the lower airplanes you see. They are the national carrier of Germany. Today, these two airlines began a process and initiated that any Russian citizen with a Russian passport that is trying to board a KLM plane or a Lufthansa plane, and folks, these are two of your biggest carriers in the world, and are traveling through Europe, okay? Because KLM flies from Tokyo to Sydney. They'll have routes outside of Europe, okay? Now there, Russian citizens can fly, but in the no-fly zone for Europe, KLM and Lufthansa today started denying boarding for Russian passport holders. Folks, the pot's just being stirred. These are companies. And yeah, they're not like American where Delta's private. They are private companies, but they're in these nations, they're very connected to the governments. A little more pot stirring. Today and tomorrow, citizens have arranged a blockade between Poland and Belarus. Citizens of Poland. Today, at one of the border crossings between Poland and Belarus, there is a truck convoy right now that is 22 kilometers, about 11 miles long. They've been blocked at the border. They're carrying goods to Belarus and to Russia. For 2 days, 48 hours, they're just making a human blockade. Mariupol. Tomorrow night, we will be talking to Zhenya specifically about Mariupol and the people that he's hearing stories from that are there right now with him from Mariupol. Folks, do not miss tomorrow night. Tell your friends tomorrow night to be here. You're going to hear the truth about Mariupol. There's one story that he's preparing about a grandmother. You need to hear it. It's the truth. But I will tell you this, he'll confirm it tomorrow night. People in Mariupol are being forced to evacuate to Russia. They are being forced to surrender their Ukrainian passports, and they are being sent to camps inside of Russia directly from Mayor Boychenko. Folks, Mariupol is this close to falling, but I'm telling you, you're watching World War II unfold, and it has to stop. Finally, Antonio Guterres from the United Nations, he said the war in Ukraine is already disrupting supply chains and causing the prices of fuel, food, and transport to skyrocket. We must do everything possible to avert a hurricane of hunger and a meltdown of the global food system. Let me explain that to you. 18% of the wheat supply for the world comes from Ukraine. 24% of the wheat supply comes from Russia. They're not shipping wheat anywhere. Think about it for a moment. He's right, and it's serious. In fact, I have a little video clip today, and this is what we'll close with. This is in a store in Russia today. They have no sugar. Watch.
Светлана Петровна, с Богом!
This is Russia.
Все, закрывай. Снимай, ты прям на видео.
Да. Блядь, смотри.
Женщина, 5 ограничений. Вам не пробьют на кассе. Вам не пробьют. Можете не хватать.
Сейчас яйца там забьете. Вы куда заходите-то? Куда вы? Куда вы?
Выходите, выходите. Выходите.
Выходите, куда вы идете? Выходите.
Выходите. Выходите.
Выйдите.
Folks, it's just beginning. And that is why I reiterate that this must stop. I want to thank you for being here tonight. It's been a game changer, and it seems every 23 hours there are game changers. Appreciate your time. I appreciate your care. And as always, thank you for being a part. Thank you for being a part of our team. Thank you for being here each night to hear the truth. Thank you for sharing, liking, commenting, all that stuff. Tell your friends. And thank you for continuing to give. This is going to be a very, very long road, and we're going to stick on it together until we see victory in the name of Jesus. So that's the report for tonight. Remember, tomorrow night, Zhenya, unless something happens, going to be with me live, and going to be a great hour together. May the Lord bless you guys tonight. Thank you for everything that you're doing, and we'll see you in 23 hours. May God bless you. And may God bless Ukraine. Good night.